This is Bad Creepypasta. Today we're going to be reading Sally.EXE. Link in the description as always. Prepare yourselves for some very bad English and nonsensical statements. I'm a big fan of the Sonic the Hedgehog series, like a lot of people. I narrowed down to the classic Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon shows though, because I think the rest Sega has spawned was rat crap, each to their own.
Marvellous English there.
I was browsing eBay the other day.
The source of all evil in the world.
I wondered if there would be any items about my favourite character from the series, Sally Acorn. I think she was everyone's favourite character from Sonic the Hedgehog. Indeed, what I found was a plushie that was manufactured in Sega World of Sydney, which closed down due to the lack of visitors in 2006.
All the Sonic fans in the world.
Those Sally plushies were very rare, but I didn't have the money to buy her, and my parents would despise me for it.
No daughter of mine is gonna buy a Sally plushie.
That seems pretty fucking severe. I examined the plushie for a while, as the article came with pictures. The Sally even had her jacket. On it was written with a permanent marker, God. I don't really know what it meant.
Oh, the possibilities.
Probably the initials of the child owning her before they sold her. I clicked the back button to return to the Sonic Sally search, knowing that I wouldn't win the auction anyway, only to find another article had appeared. Sonic Satam cartoon all episodes! You notice they've put Satam next to each other and it looks like Satan. Very good. With the price of $1 on instant buy. Satam DVDs were never released where I came from. Bummer. He's from Bummer. So, as happy as I was, I wanted to rewatch the show and check out the article. It had no description and no address where it came from. Germany, Canada, etc. Or just any other country in the world.
Germany.
It was missing and the shipping price was stated to be free. I looked up at the photo of the article. It was a blank CD. I decided to buy it anyway, not just for the nostalgia, but the writing was great and I loved Robotnik in the series. Well, it all started when the mail arrived. It arrived the next morning, oddly. It was Sunday. I was happy to receive the episodes and immediately put the blank CD into my laptop, starting the DVD. Sadly, the DVD didn't start, but it offered to show me the files. So I opened the folder and saw a Sally.exe application. I was confused at it being an EXE, but it started anyway, and indeed, it was playing a Satam episode. The episode Hooked on Sonics began. The episode started out all normal, along with the intro. No blood or anything. Wow, the author actually wrote no blood or anything.
No blood or anything, guys, seriously.
But
Those crazy episodes around mid-season.
the sad thing was that my computer blue screened when the kissing scene of Sonic and Sally started, where Sally walks over to Sonic and kisses his cheek. He calls her kiss not so good and grants her a better one, and it was so cute too. The computer rebooted and I took out the CD as I thought it malfunctioned and threw it away. I could have asked the person to give me my money back, but he can keep the $1 I gave him. Well, I keep the $1 I gave him, excuse me. I mean, it's just $1. I continue to normally browse the internet, speak to friends on Skype and all. Nothing was wrong until when I was watching a random YouTube video, my cursor, the white arrow in case you didn't know. Thank you for telling me what a cursor is.
Oh, good thing, because, you know, I have no idea what a computer does, is, or can do.
Started to completely spaz out. I disconnected my mouse, but the cursor continued to thrash around the screen. I even deactivated my touchpad, and it continued. Suddenly it came to a stop, and I carried on, ignoring what had happened. Soon I found myself downloading a ROM of Sonic the Hedgehog. Fun game. As soon as it had downloaded, I started up my emulator and begun the game in window mode. But oddly, the complete screen went black. I shrugged it off and waited for the game to start.
I shrugged it off and just played Windows.
The familiar Sega jingle didn't sound. Well, it did. But it was,
how do you know?
but it was slowed down so much it sounded demonic and gave me a cringe. The background remained black and Sonic didn't run past the logo. It faded to black and some text appeared. I first thought it was a red font, but it looked like it was scratched into my computer screen. Up for round 2? I blinked and flinched as the main screen came on. The sky was a dark grey, and the clouds looked dull and black, like right before a thunderstorm. The mountains were decayed, and so was the logo. It even looked partially rusted. I was amazed at the pixely detail, but it also scared me. Sega 1991 was now replaced with Sega 666,
How original.
and the water was a bloody red.
Again, original.
The familiar music wasn't played either. It was just a 16-bit mess of sounds, and the demonic Sega occasionally mixed in. Instead of Sonic showing up, 2 characters appeared next to the logo, Tails and Knuckles. The sight of them terrified even more. Terrified who even?
Terrified what?
Proofread. Tails' eyes were black and they were bleeding. His fur became a dull grey-black as well. He had an expression of anguish on his face. I'm not fucking this up on purpose, this is how it's written. Knuckles looked far worse. His red fur had darkened to a reddish grey. His dreadlocks were dripping with blood, and his eyes were black and bleeding like Tails, and he had a look of sadness on his face. You could see that even though his eyes were black. Just then I noticed a new character pop out of the middle of the logo. A pink, bubbly little hedgehog. Poked her head out. At first she was smiling, but them frowned at what was around her. She looked confused and nervous, like she didn't really know what was going on. Amy Rose, I thought. What is this all about? Curiosity drove me to press enter. A short yet loud static noise sounded and the screen faded. I wish I hadn't done so. Kyle didn't want to play with me. The writing appeared again. What a shame. But I can play with you, right? The demonic Sega jingle sounded again as for a split second an image flashed. It disappeared too fast so I couldn't make it out, but I swear I saw a red and black Sonic with black and red eyes. I almost felt them pierce me, and the moment made me jump. He was really scared of red. I didn't begin in Green Hill Zone Act 1 though. I wish I did. Instead, the title card read, Not Perfect Act 1. The game begun. The ground looked like normal Green Hill Zone, but the background was pitch black. Amy stood normally where Sonic would be in the original game. Surprisingly, that was a well-made sprite. It wasn't her classic self, but her current self. It looked official, even. Oh, mate, learn how to use punctuation. On the opposing side of the screen where Amy was at, there was a large silver ring. In front of the ring stood a sprite of Sonic with a smile on his face. The animation of Amy standing there was that she stared forward with a lovey-dovey expression as hearts came from her head here and there. So terrifying. I guess I should head to Sonic, I thought as I moved Amy towards Sonic. But Sonic... You know, you can say he, but Sonic ran away and jumped into the ring. I made Amy leap right after him. The level teleported to one of those stages where you can get a Chaos Emerald. Did somebody else take over for a bit?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I can't read this any longer.
My eyes! The background was pink with love hearts all over. It looked cute, but I was distracted by only having 4 red-white coloured spheres to jump on, and I've tried to balance Amy on top of it as she desperately tried to keep on top of the spheres. But my control slipped and Amy fell. I fell into a wall of gold spheres. Just as I thought I'd teleport back, a loud shriek sounded and the image of this demonic Sonic continued to flash over the screen. The screen completely spazzed out and I heard shrieks. Loud shrieks. From what I could swear, it was Amy Rose herself! I kept hearing, no, no! And loud cries of agony and pain which abruptly ended with more statics and for a split moment before the screen cut out to black. Soon the title screen appeared again. Knuckles and Tails were missing, but instead Amy appeared. She was smiling her usual cute smile, but her body had holes.
You see, author, maybe it's time we had the talk. Girls and boys.
Not bleeding holes, or bullet holes, or speed holes. Just holes that pierced all over her body. That pierced her body all over. Her colours faded to a dull black and white. Even her eyes looked oddly disfigured. This scared me so much my entire body began to itch.
Common symptom of fear.
Oh god, I've got fleas, I'm so terrified.
I scratched myself over and over as I watched a new character appear. I frowned upon seeing Cream, who had a sheer terrified expression.
Who the fuck is Cream?
It's that stupid rabbit that hang out with the chow.
Means nothing to me.
She hang out with all the chow, so that's probably why you don't recognise her.
Who had a sheer terrified expression and huddled against the logo for comfort. Poor Cream. I wanted to quit the game, but as if forced, I hit start and the screen faded.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's not real.
Hang on. What the Right, we're near the end.
Good.
I was beginning to think this would go on forever.
Kind and Fair, Act 1.
One word.
The stage was blank now, and the background music was a drowned-sounding, slower version of Green Hill Zone. It was nearly made me gag,
Music makes you gag.
but something forced me to play. The stage began, and Cream's sprite was like Amy's, very well done. The environment was childish, it looked like a cute cutout. In front of Cream was a TV box that gave you higher speed. I made Cream crouch down and do a spin dash, and I dashed ahead, crashing the box. The level didn't change. Ground was a solid platform, and it seemed that Cream was going faster, 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 and she crashed more boxes, and more, and more. I noticed the music got completely out of sync, which scared me again. Suddenly Cream crashed into a wall of spikes.
Wait, the music got out of sync? What does that even mean? It's not synced up to the action, it's just incidental music.
A loud splat sounded, which didn't even sound like it would belong in a 16-bit game.
So now he's starting to figure something's out of place. Wait a minute!
Oh my god, I think this ROM might be hacked.
Poor Cream was torn to shreds. Hyper-realistic, no.
Yes!
No. Blood dripped from the spikes and the bloodied rabbit as the background slowly began to melt in front of my eyes. The image flashed again and soon the title screen appeared. As I expected, I was back at the title screen and Cream appeared with Amy. She did look scared, but her other eye was, how do I put it, droopy and dead and bled a black goo. Her ears were over her face now instead of the back of her head. Her colour scheme changed from a brown and orange to a very, very dark purple and red. Her dress was a very dull grey.
As opposed to the exciting greys.
Time for the third character. And God, did I want to cry and weep when I saw Sally Acorn pop out of that goddamn logo. Pop up. Ugh. Putting on her innocent smile as she waved towards me, like she didn't know what torture would happen to her. So turn it off. It's a game. You can do that.
She didn't know because she's not real.
The game was so terrifying, yet so fascinating. So fascinating with all its grey and black, that I wanted to stop real bad. But my hand wouldn't budge. I even started shaking.
What is he doing? Masturbating?
I wanted to reach for the power button, turn the damn thing off, but my hand just wouldn't move. Before I knew it, I had to cut it off.
Something on my head.
Before I knew it, I already hit start and the screen faded. Act 9, it said. A sad, dull melody played in the background as the silhouette of the ground...
It's hard to read, isn't it?
It is! I apologise for saying you were reading it too slowly. You have to read it slowly. And a sprite silhouette that resembled Sally appeared in front of a background that consisted the whole group. Amy, Cream, Knuckles, Tails and Robotnik appeared, all in their tortured forms with a saddened expression.
Robotnik!
It also had Sonic, but in a nearly unrecognisable way. He had a wide grin on his face with razor-sharp teeth. He had black eyes with red dots for pupils, which were bleeding. It looked like he would reach out to the silhouette in front of him. I tried to move Sally, get her out of there, but each wall wouldn't budge and Sally would do a pushing animation. I stopped in the middle as, to my horror, the stage began to shrink and the black started to close in on Sally. I tried moving her again, but the walls wouldn't budge or move. I walked Sally back to the middle as the walls closed in on her. She crouched down before she completely disappeared in the black. Splat! The red writing appeared on the screen again, only it was dripping blood, dripping like blood, and it was crooked. Sonic, my love. Suddenly a familiar scene faded in. I recognised it immediately. Sonic Sat-Am was playing from where the CD cut off. It had a reddish shade and Sonic had these black, bleeding, demonic eyes. Sally looked even worse, at least to me. Her eyes were missing. It was like they were taken out and Sally's skull was screwed closed again. That's how skulls work. Blood was running from her wound. It didn't look Photoshop. It was actually animated. Sonic pulled Sally over like in the show, only tentacle-like things bursted out of their mouths and locked, making disgusting slurping noises. Can we get some ambience, guys? I could even see them bulge in Sally's throat. Worst thing was they looked like they were enjoying it. And for a moment, I think I was too.
The fuck, dude? Seriously?
I'm not making this up. I could see the computer tails. I could see the corrupted tails and Knuckles in the background too. Sonic pulled away. So, not bad, Sally simply replied. I gagged and looked away from the screen. Gagged at something that turned me on earlier. Out of the corner I noticed something on my bed. On my bed was the Sally doll I saw on eBay. With its eyes missing. Fail! Oh my god. That's the worst one yet. That is...
It's very long.
I was going to say, that's like Tech. That's like
Stretched out.
That's like the author of Tech just went, I'm going to write something as long as sonic.exe. I'm going to write a sequel to sonic.exe that's just as fucking long.
And a bit of tentacle rape at the end, I suppose.
Yeah, well, Tech was a Japanese thing, so... So, what did everybody think of Sally.exe then?
My head hurts.
Wonderful cornucopia of bullshit.
Yeah, I think that just about sums it up. Wonderful cornucopia of bullshit. That's one of the worst stories I've ever read.
You can always... it's kind of sexist in a way, because all three girls got horribly murdered.
I guess, you could read it that way. Of all its sins, though, I think that just the writing... Forget the sexism for a moment, if there is any in there. Just the writing of it, it makes no sense at all. As with so many of the other bad stories we've looked at, there's no reason for anything that happens. It doesn't conclude, and the punchline is a fucking doll with no eyes.
Telltale.
And it's just like...
At least they brought that back. At least that was there for a reason.
Yeah, I'm glad that wasn't just a thing for the beginning of the story that never went anywhere, like all that Minecraft talk in Truth About My Death.
Sega.
Do you know what we should do, actually? We should slow down. For this video, we're going to slow down the Sega jingle and like 100 times and see if it sounds demonic. And if it doesn't sound demonic, you can say that this story is probably false.
Yeah, that's the way to get legit.
That's the way to determine that this never happened. Bad. This is some bad shit.
It's all bad shit.
On the bright side, you got a free doll out of it.
He did get a free doll out of it. This is the longest episode we've ever done as well. It's the longest story we've read and probably the longest bitching session we've had afterwards. But that was fucking terrible. I've never had to stop reading and have a guest come in and finish it off before.
Well, you cried in the corner.
Yes. Cried in the corner, shitting everywhere. That was fucking awful.